Rise, claim your voice, and stand unwavering in your worth. Turn pain into power, chase your dreams without fear, and nurture the light within. Let judgment fall behind you. Love yourself fiercely, lift others as you climb, and become a force that the world cannot silence. There is a power that lives in the sound of your own voice, a force so fierce that it can move mountains and awaken the hearts of those around you. Yet, for too long, many women have been taught to soften their words, to mute the cadence of their convictions, to shrink when the world demands that they take up space. To embrace your own voice is to reclaim that power, to honor the very essence of who you are, and to step into a life that is unapologetically yours. When you speak, do not whisper out of fear. Let your words ring with clarity, with purpose, with the knowledge that what you have to say matters, that your perspective is a gift the world needs to hear. The journey to embracing your voice begins with listening, not to the critics, not to the echoes of doubt, but to yourself. There is a quiet wisdom within you, a deep river of understanding shaped by your experiences, your triumphs, your scars. It is here that your authentic voice is born. Do not be afraid of its strength. Do not silence it because it may shake the fragile egos of others. The world has room for your truth, and you were never meant to serve as a shadow to someone else's light. Speaking your truth is not always easy. There will be those who challenge you, who try to convince you that your words are too loud, too bold, too much. Yet, remember that the loudest truths often unsettle the greatest injustices. To embrace your voice is to step into discomfort with courage, to honor the sacred power that lives within the stories you carry. Each word you speak is a declaration that your existence, your feelings, your thoughts are valid, and that you will not be relegated to silence. Your voice is not just sound, it is action. It shapes relationships, communities, and even the world. When you speak with conviction, you inspire others to find their own courage. When you tell your story, you give permission to another to speak theirs. Embracing your voice means embracing responsibility, the responsibility to wield it with integrity, compassion, and unwavering authenticity. It is the voice that stands firm in the face of injustice, that lifts the fallen, that challenges the status quo. Do not wait for permission. Do not allow fear or self-doubt to cage your expression. Let your voice flow freely, like a river breaking through rock, carving a path where there was once resistance. Every word you speak, every story you share, every truth you proclaim is a testament to your resilience, your wisdom, your indomitable spirit. To embrace your own voice is to embrace yourself fully, boldly, and without apology, knowing that in doing so you become unstoppable. There is a quiet, unwavering strength in knowing your value, in standing firm in the truth that you are enough, always. The world may try to measure you by standards not your own, by comparisons that diminish, by expectations that weigh heavy on the soul. Yet a woman who stands firm in her worth knows that her essence cannot be quantified, that her spirit cannot be bargained with, and that her heart holds treasures that no one can take away. To claim your worth is to recognize that you are deserving of respect, love, and opportunity, not as a reward, but because your existence is sacred and profound. Too often, women are tempted to seek validation outside of themselves, to bend, to compromise, to shrink their brilliance to fit the comfort of others. But to stand firm in your worth is to turn inward and find the unshakable truth. You are worthy of every dream you dare to chase, every joy you desire, every life you imagine. Your worth is not conditional upon approval, applause, or acknowledgement. It is not measured by achievements alone, nor by the reflections in the eyes of those who may not yet see you. It is intrinsic, eternal, and indomitable. Standing firm requires courage. It is not a posture born of arrogance, but of authenticity. It is saying no to situations that degrade you, walking away from relationships that drain your light, and refusing to accept less than you know you deserve. It is the quiet rebellion of a soul that refuses to be diminished, the gentle yet unwavering declaration that your value cannot be negotiated. Every time you honor your worth, you teach the world and yourself that compromise does not mean surrender, and humility does not require self-erasure. Your worth is a flame, and standing firm is the act of protecting it from winds of doubt, criticism, and manipulation. It is remembering that rejection does not define you, that setbacks do not erase your brilliance, and that the voices of naysayers are often the echoes of their own insecurities. A woman who knows her worth carries herself with dignity, grace, and unshakable resolve. She does not waver when challenged, for she has anchored herself in the truth of her own soul. To stand firm in your worth is to create a life of integrity. It is to pursue your goals without apology, to demand respect in all spheres of life, and to speak your truth even when it is uncomfortable. It is to nurture your mind, body, and spirit, knowing that self-care is not indulgence, but recognition of your intrinsic value. In standing firm, you become a beacon for others, showing that true strength is not loud, but resolute, that power is not taken, but claimed, and that a woman who knows her worth is unstoppable. Pain is not a curse, it is a teacher, a forge where the spirit is strengthened and the soul is sculpted. Every wound, every heartbreak, every moment of despair carries within it the seed of transformation. A strong woman does not allow her suffering to define her. Instead, she reaches into the depths of her pain and pulls forth a power that cannot be taken, a resilience that cannot be broken. To transform pain into power is to see beyond the shadow and recognize the light hidden within the struggle, to understand that every scar is a map of survival, every tear a testament to endurance, and every trial an invitation to rise. Pain often comes unannounced. It knocks on the door of your life with cruelty, with injustice, with loss. It may leave you trembling, questioning your worth, doubting your path. Yet the true measure of a woman is not in the absence of hardship, but in the courage to face it head on, to feel it fully, and to let it fuel her transformation. The fire of adversity burns away the parts of us that are weak or false, revealing the core of strength that has always existed. It is in the darkest nights of the soul that we discover the brilliance of our own light. To harness pain is to refuse to be a victim of circumstance. It is the decision to rise when the world expects you to remain down, to speak when silence seems safer, to act when fear urges you to retreat. Each challenge, each heartbreak, each disappointment becomes a stepping stone toward your own empowerment. The lessons learned in suffering are invaluable. Patience, empathy, courage, and a profound understanding of what truly matters. A woman who transforms pain into power does not dwell on bitterness. She converts it into purpose, energy, and determination. A fire that burns within the soul, urging you to reach beyond the limits of fear and doubt. To own your dreams fearlessly is to recognize that your vision, your calling, and your desires are not frivolous whims. They are truths embedded in your spirit, guiding you toward the life you are meant to live. Too often, women are taught to shrink their aspirations, to silence the longing in their hearts, to wait for permission that never comes. But a woman who dares to claim her dreams understands that fear is merely a shadow, and courage is the light that reveals the path forward. Fear will always knock at the door of ambition. It will whisper that you are not enough, that your dreams are too big, that failure is inevitable. Yet owning your dreams fearlessly means listening to the heartbeat of your soul instead of the noise of doubt. It is saying yes to yourself when the world hesitates. It is taking the first step even when the road is uncertain, and it is holding fast to your vision with relentless determination. Your dreams are not distant stars. They are beacons lighting the way to the greatness within you. Owning your dreams requires faith, faith in your own abilities, faith in your resilience, faith in the unseen forces that conspire in favor of those who act with intention and courage. It is a refusal to let others define the boundaries of your life or diminish the magnitude of your aspirations. A woman who owns her dreams fearlessly does not wait for a perfect moment. She creates it. She does not wait for validation. She becomes her own witness, her own cheerleader, her own advocate. Each step she takes toward her dream strengthens her resolve and solidifies her claim to the life she envisions. Dreams demand action. They demand that you rise each day with purpose, that you speak words of affirmation over your goals, and that you meet challenges with creativity and determination. Fear may attempt to paralyze you, but the audacity to pursue what sets your soul on fire is a defiance that cannot be denied. Every setback, every misstep, every moment of doubt becomes part of the tapestry of your triumph. To own your dreams fearlessly is to transform obstacles into lessons, to see each challenge as a stepping stone, and to carry forward with unwavering belief in your worthiness and your power. Or, when a woman claims her dreams, she does more than shape her own destiny. She lights the way for others. She becomes a living testament to what is possible when courage meets vision, when fear is met with faith, and when the heart refuses to settle for anything less than the extraordinary. Owning your dreams fearlessly is an act of liberation, a declaration that your life is yours to craft, and a reminder that the world needs the brilliance, the passion, and the unique gifts that only you can offer. In embracing your dreams without hesitation, you step into a life of power, purpose, and unstoppable grace. The people, environments, and energies that surround you shape not only your thoughts, but the very trajectory of your life. To surround yourself with positivity is to recognize that your spirit thrives when nurtured by light, encouragement, and the company of those who see your value and celebrate your growth. A strong woman understands that she cannot pour from an empty cup, and she does not waste her energy on those who diminish, belittle, or cast shadows upon her brilliance. Choosing positivity is not a superficial act. It is a declaration that you honor your mind, your heart, and your soul by keeping company with that which uplifts and inspires. Positivity is not found merely in pleasant surroundings. It is cultivated in conscious choices. It is in the laughter shared with those who rejoice in your victories, in conversations that challenge you to grow rather than tear you down, in friendships that are rooted in mutual respect, trust, and encouragement. To surround yourself with positivity is to build a circle of light that shields you from the darkness of doubt, criticism, and envy. It is to recognize the sacred responsibility of choosing carefully who and what you allow into your inner world, for your energy is precious and it must be protected. Negativity has a way of creeping into life quietly, disguised as advice, as truth, or as concern. Yet a woman who surrounds herself with positivity discerns the difference between constructive guidance and toxic influence. She understands that criticism is not inherently destructive, but envy, manipulation, and belittlement are. She nurtures relationships that inspire courage, creativity, and hope, and she distances herself from those that sow seeds of despair. In doing so, she builds a foundation upon which dreams can flourish, resilience can grow, and the heart can remain open to joy and possibility. To embrace positivity also means cultivating it within yourself. It is the practice of speaking kindly to your own spirit, of seeing possibilities where others see barriers, of finding hope in the midst of trials, when your inner landscape is fertile with optimism, gratitude, and determination. It naturally attracts others who resonate with the same frequency. Surrounding yourself with positivity is both a reflection and an extension of the light you carry. It magnifies your strength, your confidence, and your capacity to inspire. A woman who surrounds herself with positivity becomes a beacon. Her energy draws others toward growth, courage, and love. She demonstrates that the company she keeps and the energy she cultivates directly influence the shape of her life. She chooses experiences, words, and relationships that lift her higher, that challenge her to be better without diminishing her essence. In doing so, she not only protects her spirit, but empowers herself to step boldly into her purpose. Positivity becomes a shield, a compass, and a lifeline, allowing her to navigate the world with clarity, grace, and unwavering resolve. She knows that when she is surrounded by light, she cannot help but shine, and in shining, she inspires a world in desperate need of hope, courage, and unstoppable women. There is a power in loving oneself that is both gentle and fierce, tender yet unyielding. Self-love is not vanity, nor is it indulgence. It is the foundation upon which strength, resilience, and clarity are built. A woman who practices self-love recognizes her own worth, honors her mind, body, and spirit, and refuses to surrender her peace for the fleeting approval of others. She understands that the love she gives herself is not selfish, it is essential. Without it, her actions, her choices, and her presence in the world would be diluted, weighed down by self-doubt and insecurity. Discipline is the companion of self-love. It is the deliberate action that transforms intention into reality, that turns dreams into accomplishments, and that preserves the sanctity of the life you are building. To practice discipline is to show up for yourself consistently, even when the path is difficult, when temptation whispers, or when the world's distractions call you away from your purpose. Self-love without discipline may linger as hope or desire, but it is discipline that breathes life into those intentions, shaping them into tangible outcomes. The two, when combined, create an unstoppable force, a woman who knows her worth and works tirelessly to honor it through her choices. Loving oneself requires honesty, courage, and compassion. It requires looking into the mirror of your soul and embracing both your strengths and your flaws. It is forgiving yourself for mistakes, celebrating your victories, and nurturing your growth. Discipline is not punishment. It is care manifested through consistent, intentional action. It is setting boundaries, managing your time, prioritizing your well-being, and pursuing your goals with steadfast focus. Together, self-love and discipline form a rhythm of life that is both empowering and transformative. A woman who masters this balance becomes unshakable. She does not rely on external validation to affirm her value. She does not yield to laziness, distraction, or despair, for she has made a covenant with herself to honor her potential, to respect her body, and to nurture her mind and spirit. In practicing self-love, she protects her heart from harm and cultivates the confidence to face challenges with grace. In practicing discipline, she ensures that her dreams do not remain wishes, but become realities that testify to her commitment, strength, and resilience. The world will often demand compromise, asking women to sacrifice their needs, dreams, and well-being for the sake of others. But a woman who loves herself and exercises discipline knows that her first responsibility is to her own life and growth. She creates a space in which her spirit can flourish, a rhythm in which her ambitions are pursued with clarity, and a life in which her actions reflect her values. She moves through the world with dignity, intentionality, and unwavering strength, becoming an example for others of what it means to honor oneself fully. In self-love and discipline, she finds freedom, power, and the ability to live boldly, fearlessly, and unapologetically. The world will always have opinions, judgments, and criticisms waiting at the edges of your path. Some will whisper doubts, others will shout limitations, and many will attempt to measure your worth by standards that are not your own. Yet a woman who rises above judgment and criticism knows that the voice that matters most is her own. She understands that external disapproval cannot define her, that criticism is often a reflection of the fears and insecurities of others, and that her power lies in remaining steadfast, dignified, and true to herself. To rise above is not to ignore the world. It is to walk through it with clarity, strength, and unwavering conviction, refusing to be shaken by the shifting winds of opinion. Judgment can come from strangers, friends, family, or even one's own inner critic. It may manifest as skepticism, ridicule, or harsh comparisons. A woman who rises above it recognizes that these judgments are temporary, external, and often baseless. She does not allow them to dictate her choices, shape her self-image, or hinder her dreams. Instead, she meets them with calm resolve, allowing only what is constructive to influence her while discarding what diminishes, divides, or distracts her from her purpose. In doing so, she protects her spirit and preserves the clarity of her vision. Criticism can be a mirror, but it is not always the truth. The wisdom lies in discerning which voices offer guidance and which voices attempt to control or belittle. A strong woman listens, reflects, and chooses carefully, refusing to internalize negativity that has no place in her life. She understands that the path of growth and success will inevitably draw scrutiny, but she meets it not with defensiveness or fear, but with grace, courage, and self-assurance. In rising above criticism, she demonstrates that strength is not loud, it is composed, deliberate, and resolute. Rising above judgment also requires self-trust. It is the knowledge that your worth is inherent, your purpose is valid, and your journey is unique. It is the courage to make decisions that honor your values, even when they are questioned or misunderstood. The act of rising above does not mean closing yourself off from learning or feedback. It means filtering the world through the lens of your own discernment, holding tightly to the compass of your heart, and walking your path with confidence. A woman who rises above judgment and criticism becomes a beacon of freedom and empowerment. She shows others that living authentically requires courage, and that embracing one's truth is the highest form of resistance to negativity. She teaches that while the world may attempt to define her, only she holds the authority to shape her identity, to pursue her dreams, and to claim her power. In doing so, she becomes unstoppable, unshakable, and unbound, a living testament to the extraordinary strength that emerges when a woman chooses herself above the noise of the world. A life lived fully, courageously, and with purpose leaves a mark far beyond the moments we occupy. To leave a legacy of inspiration is to recognize that our actions, our words, and our presence carry the power to shape the hearts and minds of those who follow. A woman who seeks to inspire does not merely chase personal success. She lifts others as she climbs, creating a chain of courage, hope, and possibility that stretches far beyond herself. Her life becomes a testament to what can be achieved when one embraces strength, love, and unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit. Legacy is not measured by wealth, status, or accolades, but by the ripples of impact left in the lives of others. Every act of kindness, every demonstration of resilience, every choice to rise above fear, doubt, and injustice contributes to a story that outlives the individual. A woman who leaves a legacy of inspiration understands that her experiences, both triumphs and struggles, are gifts to be shared. She speaks openly of her journey, teaching that vulnerability is not weakness, but a bridge to connection, empathy, and empowerment. Inspiring others requires courage. It demands living in a way that aligns with your values, speaking with honesty and conviction, and demonstrating through action what it means to persevere, to love, and to thrive. Such a woman understands that her influence is magnified not by what she says alone, but by how she lives. Each decision becomes a lesson, each triumph a beacon, and each challenge a testament to resilience. By embracing authenticity, she teaches others the invaluable truth that strength and grace can coexist, and that greatness is not achieved by standing alone, but by lifting others along the way. A legacy of inspiration also requires intentionality. It is a deliberate choice to invest time, energy, and heart into the growth of others. It is offering guidance, support, and encouragement, even when it is easier to remain silent. It is sharing wisdom gained from experience so that others may walk their paths with greater confidence and clarity. The woman who leaves such a legacy understands that the truest form of power is not in domination, but in empowerment. She recognizes that inspiring others does not diminish her own journey. It amplifies it, creating a network of light, courage, and hope that cannot be extinguished. Leaving a legacy of inspiration is about planting seeds that will continue to bloom long after we are gone. It is the quiet assurance that the lessons we teach, the courage we model, and the love we extend will continue to influence generations. A woman who leaves such a legacy becomes immortal in the hearts of those she touches. She becomes a guiding star, a source of courage, and a reminder that a life lived with purpose, integrity, and compassion can transform not only the self, but the world. In this way, she is truly unstoppable, and her influence endures, reaching far beyond the limits of time and space, inspiring countless others to rise, to dream, and to live boldly. As we step into our power, we come to understand that strength is not born from perfection, nor is it measured by the absence of struggle. It is forged in the courage to embrace our voice, to honor our worth, to transform pain into power, and to pursue our dreams without hesitation. It is nurtured by positivity, sustained through self-love and discipline, and fortified when we rise above judgment and criticism. And in all that we do, the greatest triumph is not in what we achieve for ourselves alone, but in the legacy we leave, the inspiration we ignite in others, the hope we awaken, and the courage we model. A strong, unstoppable woman is not merely a force of action, she is a beacon of possibility. She reminds us that our lives are ours to shape, our voices ours to claim, and our dreams ours to chase. She teaches that adversity can become strength, doubt can become clarity, and love, beginning with love for oneself, can illuminate even the darkest path. And as we stand in her example, we realize that the true measure of power is not in dominance or recognition, but in the lives we touch, the hearts we uplift, and the courage we inspire. Rise, claim your light, honor your journey, and walk forward knowing that within you lies a force the world cannot silence. Be fearless, be relentless, and above all, be unstoppable. For when a woman stands fully in her power, she does not simply change her own life, she changes the world.